Look at the faces. Like, look at the faces. Like, look at the faces. I mean, just look at it. I mean, you can see who even looks better. I mean, that's what I'm just saying. Welcome back to the channel, The Real Ish. We're going to be talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street, the 1984 version versus the 2010 version. Right away, obviously, this is going to be an interesting topic because, I mean, just looking at it, I can tell which one is my favorite. All right, but I did a little diving and we're going to just talk about, you know, some differences, why the other movie may not have been as great as the classic, you know, so on and so forth. All right, so let's get into the video. The original 1984 A Nightmare on Elm Street is praised for Wes Craven's innovative direction, Robert Englund's iconic portrayal of a witty yet terrifying Freddy Krueger, and effective practical effects. The 2010 remake is criticized for a forgettable story, Jackie Earle Haley's less playful and more sinister Freddy, and the use of modern CGI over practical effects, though some appreciate the darker tone and more realistic appearance of the killer. Alright, so in the remake, you know, it goes into more controversial details that were added about Freddy's, you know what, backstory, you know, what he did to children. And it said many fans found that to be distasteful and damaging to the character. Okay, so then something else says, these are like more points, you know, we get into the overview and more points and why one movie may be preferred over the other. The original 1984 A Nightmare on Elm Street is widely considered the better film. I agree. Praised for its suspenseful atmosphere, creative practical effects, playful portrayal of Freddy Krueger, in the contrast of the 2010 remake is generally seen as an inferior, criticized for a less terrifying Freddy, inferior acting, a less engaging protagonist, and a reliance on gore and over suspense. It says why the original is preferred. The original film effectively builds suspense, keeping the audience guessing about the extent of Freddy's powers and creating a sense of lurking terror. Iconic Freddy, Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger, is a complex, sadistic, and terrifying character who taunts his victims, blending horror with a dark humor that became his trademark. The creative effects, the 1984 film features groundbreaking practical effects that were more effective and less dated than the CGI used in the remake. Strong protagonist. Alright, so Heather, who plays Nancy, is a resourceful and compelling heroine who evolves into an action heroine, setting a standard for strong female leads in horror. So here are the criticisms of the 2010 remake. Less terrifying Freddy. The remake's Freddy, portrayed by Jackie Earle Haley, is more menacing and vengeful, losing the taunting, playful aspect that made the original so unique. Poor acting and pacing. Many viewers found the acting, particularly the lead roles, to be weak and wooden, and the pacing too fast, failing to build connection with the characters. Removed suspense. The remake struggles to capture the subtle transition between the dream and real worlds, making dream sequences clearly defined and destroying the suspense. Unnecessary gore. It said this remake relies on more gore to create fear, which is seen as less effective and less sophisticated approach compared to the original's focus on creeping fear. Lastly, why it exists. Many critics and fans question the remake's existence as it offers a less effective version of the story many already knew, failing to introduce new ideas to provide a compelling reason to watch it again. Exactly. So with that being said, it just tells you why the original is better, and in most cases the original will always be better in most, whether it's about this movie or any other movie. Found someone talking about it on horrormovietalk.com. It's an article by Keith Harris. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it states, he says, I do not prefer 2010's Nightmare on Elm Street over Wes Craven's 1984 original. To me, it was at best a mediocre slasher with moments of quality. At worst, it was thoroughly disappointing, uninspired homage filled with wasted potential and overused obnoxious jump scares. It made money but crashed and burned overall in living up to, the predecessor's legacy. To be fair, that was no small talk to begin with. Some argue that the project was doomed from the start due to Robert Englund's retirement after an irreplaceable performance as the franchise icon. Exactly. At this time, Robert Englund, he wasn't doing that anymore. And when I heard about this movie coming out back then in 2010, I was like, immediately no, because if he wasn't playing Freddy, I didn't think it was going to be interesting. And it wasn't, because I saw the movie and it was terrible. People in the movie theater were literally laughing because it was such a joke. And it wasn't even supposed to be funny. Skipping down right here, it says, in spite of an accomplished cast, it has several aspects working against it. Having said all that, after watching both versions multiple times, each as impartially as I could, there are a few specific elements I feel were improved upon in this modern reimagining of Springwood's Boogeyman. So they listed some examples that they think, made it a little better or didn't, but I personally just don't think it was that great, so I'm not going to even really read any more of that. Let's see if I can find something on Reddit about it. All right, someone says they like the 2010 version more. He looks more realistic and less like pepperoni pizza, LOL. Actually, I think the opposite. I think that Freddy, the 1984 Freddy, doesn't look like pepperoni pizza as far as what this person says. I think the 2010 version looks more ridiculous than the original, but that's just me. They said it made him more sinister and more serious and horrifying. However, the change in his origin completely did not do much justice. 1984 Freddy had a better background, while the 2010 Freddy had a much cooler appearance and personality. I don't know why people keep saying they made it more sinister, because I didn't find anything about the new 2010 Freddy to be that creepy. I feel like Freddy from 1984 was creepy even with the humor. Like, he still was creepy. This other one, he just looked weird to me. Now I can take it seriously. Somebody said, well, I'm glad you enjoyed the 2010. I really didn't. From a visual perspective, I thought the CGI looked a lot faker than the makeup did and gave him a sleek shine of an Xbox character. And from a practical view, I think it also brought down Haley's ability to emote or even shout properly. Right. I love the remake, someone said. I thought Jackie Earle Haley was a legit scary as Freddy, but the film totally fell apart for me. So, yeah. I don't know. That's just my take on it. Me going to Reddit like I do. Sometimes I like to go, we like to go to Reddit and see what people are thinking. All right, so here are some of the differences. I know I read some overview already about, differences, but this is more of the differences in general, I guess. The primary differences between the 1984 version and the 2010 remake is Freddy's portrayal, the sarcastic versus serious, his backstory. So this is where it gets interesting. The backstory of Freddy in the original was more mysterious origin, it says, versus in the 2010 that he was how can I say it? You'll see it on the screen. In the 2010 version, they blatantly just out loud said that he did these things to kids, and then in the 1984, they never said that. They just said that he, unalived them. So that's what I was confused about. And a while ago, I did my research, and they said in the original, I believe that he was supposed to be that, but let's see. All right, so it says in Craven's original script, Freddy originated as that who was caught and burnt to death by angry parents, but due to a coincidental abuse scandal that occurred in California while the movie was in production, he written him as a murderer instead. So the original idea was for him to be this right here. You see, I'm not gonna say it, but you see, but that's the original script, but he didn't actually do it. Wes Craven didn't actually do that in the first one. So they actually said that he was in the 2010. So I just was like, I wonder why they went ahead with that story, because that's not what he actually was in the original. So that's just my take on it. it says a heavy use of CGI. Like, the CGI is just so bad in this, and CGI don't always look bad. Nah, I'm lying. CGI usually does look pretty bad, like, especially like these days. The movies really suck these days. I just really like older effects and stuff. It looks more natural. And then it says, in an introduction of the micro nap concept in the remake, to explain how Freddy can attack in waking hours. So that's really kind of the same stuff, the tone, the new concepts and stuff, blah blah blah. Yeah, that says in 1984 the concept of dreams and reality blurring is central, but the explanation for how Freddy attacks while the victims are awake is less developed. So that's what they mean by micro naps. They developed that more in the 2010. I don't know. It's still not my cup of tea. This remake. I really don't like when they do remakes, because it never lives up to it, especially when you have someone as iconic as Robert Englund playing this character. No one will ever be able to top this. So they just should have left it alone. Instead of coming up with remakes and stuff all the time and taking old stuff that, just come up with your own stuff. Like, I don't get it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, but obviously just look at the faces. Like, look at the faces. Like, look at the faces. I mean, just look at it. I mean, you can see who even looks better. I mean, that's what I'm just saying. But yeah, that's really what I wanted to talk about. And yeah, someone had made a video also stating that this remake was one of the most horrible remakes ever. It's a video on YouTube somewhere. But yeah, I'm not gonna go on and on. It's just insane how much I dislike this remake. That's my opinion, all right? When I do these videos, it's not for you to have to agree with me. It's just me telling my opinion, and then you can tell me yours and we can have a conversation. But I'm not going to be swayed on how I feel, just like you might not be swayed on it. But I really think that the original is better, and that's just how I feel. You can let me know what you think. Comment down below what you think. Do you prefer the original or the remake? Have you even seen the remake? Let me know, all right? If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I want to thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. God bless.